What's going on, guys? It's Gendo here, and I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of my Pentagon slash Hexagon series. Well, as you can see up in the corner, today's date is the 8th of June 2025. It has been nearly a year since our Copa Libertadores victory with Flamengo, and I did that for a couple of reasons, really. One was to try and load up some of these leagues, get rid of the old ones, and to see if there are jobs available within those leagues. I simmed all the way up until the middle of January to see if there was anything in the January transfer window, and unfortunately, there wasn't very many. It was very slim pickings. You'd get a lower league Iceland side, a lower league Finland, lower league Norway. A lot of teams that, if I broke into Europe 5 years ago, without the Copa Libertadores victory, without the AFC Champions League victory, and without the National A license, coaching license that I have now, those would have been the teams that I would have, had the pick of. I wouldn't have been going after a Denmark team. I wouldn't have been going after a Spanish side or a Russian side. I would have been going after those low sides. But now that I have everything that I just listed, I should possibly go after those big name sides. So that's why I'm loading up the Bundesliga, the English Premier League, the Russian Premier League. So I want to try and expand my prospects and expand my interest in the big name sides. I also have loaded up the rest of my African nation database, so I have Cameroon in there, I have Morocco and Ivory Coast to go along with Egypt, Ghana, and South Africa. So whenever I go down to Africa, I'll already have those leagues loaded, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So I've been on the job hunt since February, and a lot has come and gone. Not a lot in the market up until recently. This is the most I've ever seen on the available jobs market since I started looking in February. And as you can see, it's full of Real Betis, El Dakalea from Egypt, Colo Colo, which is going to go away very soon, Yarrow from Finland, and Tux from the South African Premiership. I took a look at all of those and was like, no thanks, but no thanks. But there were two clubs that I was interested in and had sent out an interview, and they came back saying, hey, we are offering you a job. Those two clubs are Orlando Pirates from South Africa and Valencia from La Liga in Spain. Two very different clubs, two extremely different wage budgets, playing styles, but let's compare before I make the decision. Orlando Pirates, what did you do in the Premiership last season? You finished in fifth place, just out of continental competition by two, I want to say. It's the top three from South Africa get into the African Champions League. So, with the squad that they had, they could have definitely made it this year. But if I come in next season, I could definitely push them into third and get them into the Champions League. But when you compare them to Valencia last league in La Liga finished 10th, but you can see this little CL marker next to them. They are actually going to Champions League football next season. Now, how, you might ask? Well, they certainly didn't do that in the Copa del Rey because they lost against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. You then take a look to the Europa League, and you go all the way down, and boom! They won the Europa League final against Napoli 1-0. So they get that automatic Champions League spot, and I believe they get that either the playoff round or they actually get drawn into the groups. So that's something I gotta look into. But it's amazing for them to actually be in the Champions League. But being 10th in La Liga, when you have Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and actually Athletic Bilbao coming in second this year, very surprising to see. So as you take a look at La Liga, it's getting better and better every year with 3, 4, and now even 5 teams definitely trying to hold their own outside of Real Madrid. I mean, look, you have Athletic, Barcelona, Villarreal, Atletico Madrid, and Sevilla all within striking distance. They're all going into European football. And then you have Valencia, who is a little out of reach, but with a little luck and a little skill too, you can definitely push into top six and go back to European football proper. I don't see myself getting into the Champions League final very first season, but if I do well, Valencia definitely persuade me to stay around for a long time and help build a dynasty at Valencia and actually get up into top three and routinely get into the Champions League. Because to be quite honest with you, Valencia is one of my favorite sides in Spain. So having seen that the job was available, I definitely wanted to jump all over that and see if I can take them to the promised land. So I'm going to have to say no to Orlando Pirates and then say yes to Valencia, because we're going to go to Spain and we're going to make this happen in Valencia. Whether it takes 1 season, 2 seasons, 5 seasons, who knows? I want to try and give Valencia a UEFA Champions League victory. So there we go. That's right there. We are now part of Valencia. Having said that, let's take a look at the roster. And one of the few names that I see on here that I really, really like, Jose Luis Gaya. Now, I know this name because he was one of the well-talked-about wonder kids from the very beginning of this year, and is one of my shortlisted people that I've been monitoring. And being 30 years old now, he still hasn't lost his speed. He hasn't lost his defensive capabilities. So having him be the anchor of my defense is going to be all the better. 15 on pace, 13 acceleration, great mental attributes, great vision. And then the stats where it matters the most. 15 in marking, 15 in tackling, 13 in technique. The guy, like I said, is going to be one of the anchors of the defense, and I hope that he will be able to produce this upcoming season. One of the other players on the back line, Julian Rodriguez, 24 years old, Spanish. He should be a part of the Spanish international team. He's part of the under-21 side, but he should get the call up to the main roster sometime soon because he's looking fairly well for a 24-year-old. Taking a look at his pace and his speed, 13 pace, 15 acceleration, great mental attributes, a little lacking on the vision, but everything else more than makes up for it. And then once again, good if not better in the defensive stats than Gaya. So him and Gaya should be my two anchors on the defensive line. And I'm looking for them to produce, more or less. Now taking a look up the park, we have in the midfield, we have Jose Luis, another 24-year-old. He is, just taking a look at that polygon, reminds me a lot like Yuri Tielemans. Now, if you don't know Yuri Tielemans, you really should, because this guy is one of the big wonder kids, the one name that's supposed to stand out above the rest as he is going to develop into a world-class footballer. And if you take a look at the polygon between the two, not that much difference, except Jose Luis is 4 years younger, and as you can see, I believe he's a little faster than Yuri, so he's got that going for him. Taking a look, 17 pace, 17 acceleration, good mentals, very decent mentals, and then as far as stats for a midfielder go, 18 first touch, 17 passing, 17 technique. Definitely look for him to develop play throughout the middle of the park, and he is signed on for the next 4 years at £7.25 million. So he does take up a good chunk of the wage budget, but if he produces as well as Yuri has, I expect him to stay, and I expect him to do great things for the club. The only other name that I can find out here that I know is Wilfried Kaptoum. Wilfried Kaptoum, I've seen him on Barcelona. In fact, I think he's been with Barcelona for the majority of the series. Yep, he's been loaned out a few times, but he's been with Barcelona. Didn't really break into the side as well as they would have thought, so he went out on a free to Valencia a few seasons ago and has done fairly well for him. I'm looking for him and Jose Luis to work the middle of the park, create a great maybe ball-winning midfielder or box-to-box winning midfielder tandem to help develop play up to the attacking zone. Speaking of, taking a look at some of the wingers we have up here, and we have 5 strikers on the squad. I'm going to have to see if that's can be pared down, or some of them can be converted into wingers. Because just taking a look at the squad, I can play 4-2-3-1, my traditional 4-2-3-1. And looking at the left side of the pitch, we have Fede Cartabia, a 32-year-old Spaniard who looks to be going to be my main setup man. He is losing a little bit of pace, but everything technically, he is very technically sound. 15 crossing, 17 dribbling, 16 passing. I look for him to just be the mastermind of pinpoint crosses into the middle of the box to whoever I'm going to throw up in the striker position. I expect him to have at least 20 assists before the season's over. And then when we take a look at some of the people up front, we have Joan Jimenez, 26-year-old, who has better attacking than he has speed. May not use him all that much, though the one that I am looking forward to setting him in the front, Damian Rivas, 26-year-old Spaniard, and very pacey, and also has a mind for goals. 16 pace, 17 acceleration, and then 17 in the stats where it matters in the technical areas. 17 heading, dribbling, finishing, and first touch with a 16 in technique. I expect him to bang in the goals throughout the season, be the leading goal scorer, maybe get 20, 25, upwards of 30 goals. Is that a possibility? We'll have to wait and see. I really want to see him do well this season. Alright, well, that's going to be it for now because we don't really have anything as far as next season fixtures. All the competition stuff is still from last year. All the expectations are still from last year. So I don't know when I'm going to be coming back. I may come back for the UEFA Super Cup or the La Liga's opening of the La Liga season. I may do them both at the same time depending on what the schedule looks like. But yeah, when I find out, or actually I will just come back whenever the first match of the season is, if it's the La Liga opener or if it's the UEFA Super Cup. So until that time, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, if you would like to see me go to a different club, please let me know in the comment box below. But until next time, this is Gendo. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care, and peace out.